Hey guys, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and today I want to share with you Knit Shawls and Wraps in 1 Week by Marie Greene. I got this one from my local library, and it's actually a newer book. It just came out last year. This is a perfect example of why I shouldn't judge books by their cover. I tend to shy away from quick knit project books because they seem usually like they're working with super bulky weight yarn and just not the sort of thing I want to knit. This one is much more up my alley. The focus of this book is actually more on keeping warm with your shawls. So it has a variety from some lighter little shawls for spring and summer and some heavier ones for winter. So it does get into bulky weight, but there's also a lot of DK weight. And this is I think one of the first knitting books that I have read. It breaks it down into how many yards a day you would need to knit to get the project done in the 4 or 5 days that the book calls for. Do you know how long it takes you to knit 112 yards of DK weight? I mean, I've actually measured out 10 yards and figured out how long it takes me to knit it, so I know how long a project will take, but I didn't know anyone else did that. The book includes the yarn weights and the total yardage needed for each shawl, so that'll make for easy substitutions. I am totally capable of looking up the called for yarn and figuring out its properties and yardage and doing the math myself, but it's nice when they include in the book so you can see at a glance whether it's DK weight or Aran weight or fingering weight. Just saves a step there. And if there's something I don't like about this book, there is one chart. Everything else is written out instructions, and I strongly prefer charts. I know that some knitters like charts, some like written instructions. A lot of books have both, which are great. If you must have charts, I'd say it isn't the book for you, but one of the selling points is that there are efficient stitch patterns and easy to memorize repeats, so I'm going to give it a shot because some of these shawls are really pretty and I think they will work well with some of the yarn from my Hobby Lobby haul clearance over the past couple of years. So we'll see what happens. I do like that there are diagrams which show what the shape of the shawl will be, because sometimes books will leave you guessing from the pictures, and that's not always an easy guess to make, so I do like that. Especially when you get into things like this one, which is a pullover, and I'm not sure from the pictures if I would have connected the dots quickly that was what it was. I'm not thrilled by the photography. I love the colors, I love the textures, but a lot of times there isn't a clear picture of the stitch pattern or of how the whole shawl works. There's a whole lot of this holding it up by the fingertips and letting it drape. I haven't gone and looked on Ravelry or in knitting blogs to see if other people have knitted these shawls, and honestly, I don't think that I should have to do that. So let's look through the projects. Like I said, there are projects in here I want to make. This is the Spiced Ginger shawl. I love the color. Of course, loving the color is not a perfect reason to knit a shawl because you can knit it in whatever colors you want, but I do like the color and the texture, and I do like this triangular, lots of garter stitch and a pattern down one side. I've knit shawls like that before, and it's a style I do really enjoy. This is the Forest Grove shawl. There's some stripes and some color work in here. This one is, we're going to hide the name on the previous page. This is the Applejack wrap, and it's one of, I think, the heavier shawls in the book, and I'm intrigued by this texture. I think there's a whole lot of knit purl, so it might be more complicated than I want to do, but I'm going to swatch it and see what I think. This is the Forager Capelet. This is the Silver Birch shawl. That one's got some stripes. Lots of triangular shawls here. asymmetrical triangular shawls, which I do enjoy. The crackling fire wrap. I love the names of these patterns. And again, that's not maybe how we should pick our projects, but the harvest moon wrap. This is one of those shallow partial circles, I think. Yes, it is. The cider press shawl. This is another one that I'm hoping will work with some of my Hobby Lobby clearance yarn, because it's rows of knit alternated with rows of simple lace, and I think that that will be fun. And again, I love the colors, and I think I've got some yarns that will work with this. Here's the winter solstice wrap. The snow day shawl. I'm intrigued by this one. I can't remember that. Oh, that calls for a super bulky weight, and I do not think I own any super bulky weight because that's not really my speed, but it's pretty. Here's an early frost shawl. And this one, it's an asymmetrical triangle, and that is the only picture, and I can't, the way it is bunched up, I can't quite figure out the texture and whether I like it or not. Again, I could follow the directions and I could swatch and I could get a good idea. The blizzard funnel wrap. The glacier wrap. The sugar plum shawl. That's another one where the pictures don't really, I don't think, do it justice. January morning shawl. The fallen petals shawl. That one's a pretty shade of red. I think that's the cover picture. The hibernate wrap. And now we're on to spring and summer and the lighter weight. It's the spring equinox wrap. That's one of the few rectangular shawls in the book. The walkabout shawlette. And this one I'm intrigued by. It's one of those shallow partial circles, but from that picture, I mean, there's some stripes there, but I know people on Ravelry complain about knitters who drape their shawls over a bush to take a picture, which I am totally guilty of, but sometimes you just take a picture the way you can. In a book, though, I wish that we could get flat pictures or flatter pictures. Here's the Mayday shawl. The Flower Girl shawl. Like I said, some of these do have some color work, and this one, well, the timeline on this one just says, I recommend giving yourself the full week of knitting to savor every stitch. So is that a subtle way of telling you that this is going to take a while? The Puddle Jumper shawl. That one's cute. And this one says 150 yards a day for 3 days. The Darling Bud wrap, which I get, oh, this one's joined to make it a cylinder. The Thunderstorm shawl. I love the names. Ooh, this one looks like it has stripes with just a touch of feather and fan in some of the stripes. And again, I wish there was a chart so I could get an idea of, here's a better image of it. I like that charts can give you a real quick idea of what kind of knitting you're going to be doing. This is the Berry Patch shawlette. And now we are on to a section at the back which is multi-season cowls. This is the Sugar Plum cowl, the Darling Bud cowl, the Spiced Ginger cowl, and the Glacier cowl. And that is it. Overall, I really like a lot of the projects in this book. They have fantastic names. They're just different enough to make me feel it's worth having a copy of the book. The lack of charts disappoints me, and the photography, there's enough there to give you an idea. I wish that it was more detailed, and I wish they didn't do the holding the shawl up by the corners thing. But overall, I really do like this book, and I think it's going to help me use up my yarn. Thank you for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I will be back with you again with more videos soon. Let me know, are you into quick knits or things that take a bit longer?